Well, Derek, thank you very much, and I want to thank the entire community for including me in the ceremony today. This is a terrific recognition of a person, and as Derek so eloquently pointed out, really of an entire region and of an amazing history of the region. It's great for me to have a chance to also be back with Derek and Rochelle. I served in the legislature with Rochelle. She was the head of the Appropriations Committee, which is in charge of the money, and made her the most powerful member of the House. And she took advantage of that and helped this area out quite a bit over the years. There was I think this is right, there was a movie on Steel Magnolias, right? And there were about 7 women that were in the State House that really ran the State House, led by Rochelle, and they were called the Steel Magnolias. And it's also great to appear with Derek, who you all know so well as your senator, the background that Rochelle gave him. And what is really great about the decision that Derek has made is that you won't find very many graduates of Georgetown Law School, which is one of the top 10, 15 law schools in the country, that have devoted their career to public service. And we're very lucky in Kansas that he's done that. Most of them are out making a bunch of money and creating problems and suing folks and all that other stuff, and Derek's out here doing good things, so we greatly appreciate that. One of the things that I've been frustrated with over the years, and perhaps many of you have as well, because I know there's so many people here that are connected with the museum, is the really lack of understanding in Kansas of the great history that we have. One of the things that I am the most proud of is the story behind the very formation of our state, and how we had a choice to either be a free state or a slave state, and we made the difficult choice, but we made the choice that was the right thing. And that really provided the foundation to the tremendous state that we have right now, and I'm so incredibly proud of that. There are people that, I live in Olathe, commute to Topeka, and I will tell you there are people that have not forgotten Quantrill's raids and all the stuff that happened back in the 1850s and the 1860s. I have friends that literally will not go over to Missouri. And, I remember the coach of KU, Don Framborough, who would drive the team over to the game, the day of the game, but wouldn't stop for food or anything, just play the game and come back and spend as little time in Missouri as possible. And it's not to knock Missouri, but it's to really illustrate what an incredible history that we have. And there are so many unique and interesting folks that are out there that people just don't remember or are not ever talked about. So I really applaud Derek's efforts, and along with Rochelle's work, to create this program where we recognize these governors that frankly would never be thought of or known of other than just by a very few set of folks. Derek gave you a little bit of the background on Governor Woodring, and there's plenty of information about him in the program today, but he truly was a very interesting person. One of the things that Derek and I were talking about before we started the event today is how unique it was that he went from being a banker to being governor. How it used to be back even 40, 50, 60 years ago, you could be a private citizen and the very first office you run for is governor and have a pretty good chance to succeed. That was a pretty common route. I think we might be better off if we would go back to those days where we didn't have people that had to be professional politicians and work their way up the ranks. But he was certainly interesting from that respect. He went on to become the Secretary of Defense. They called it Secretary of War back then. Came back to the state, actually ran for governor a couple more times. I think there are very few good endings in politics, and I'm not sure he had a great ending because he came back and lost a couple of times. But he certainly distinguished the area during the time that he was governor. And one thought that I had when Derek was speaking is, I wonder if Derek had an alternative motive in passing this legislation. If someday there might be a sign in front of Independence, Derek Schmidt's name on the sign. Could be. And then the final thing I'll say is that it's great that we recognize folks that have been governors and business leaders and political leaders and all that. But what is really important about our state, and what's really made our state incredible, and I bet is highlighted at your museum, are the thousands upon thousands of people that really won't individually be remembered. It's the folks that were brave enough to come here from Ohio and Pennsylvania and fight to make this a free state. It was the farmers that refused to leave when crop after crop got wiped out. It was the service people that on the first sign of any war were the people that would sign up and fight to defend our country. And that is really what has made Kansas such an incredible state. So it's terrific that we recognize all those folks. It's great that we recognize Governor Woodring, and I thank you for letting me be a part of it today. Thank you very much. This is not actual song. I just want to clarify. At least we hope.
Drop it.